I'll come down here, I'll show him what the duct tape is, I'll show him what to stuff it. Stupid all I do all day is trying to stop this stupid problems out of the asshole. I hate that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we are looking at the concepts that wouldn't fly by today's standards. These are 10 games that would get cancelled today. Whether they push the boundaries of what is appropriate, or they're just the product of a different time, these games would not have made it to release without protests outside the developer's building. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Z nami Bóg. Remember, no Russian.
We start this list with the much beloved Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it comes in here for one reason and one reason only. The mission, no Russian. It would have been even worse had the mission not been remade with relatively minor backlash in 2020. Had the game been created at this moment in 2024 as an original concept and not a remake, we can guarantee it would not have gone down well with the general public, and arguably for good reasons. Having a mission to require the player to open fire in a crowded airport is rough for a lot of reasons that I have neither the time or the bravery to go into, so this Aussie is going to opt for not touching this topic and moving on to the next entry. Bully.
Been here 5 minutes and already people want me dead. Even my parents didn't hate me this quickly.
Femboy!
This infamous title, developed by the little-known developer Rockstar, you've probably never heard of them, barely made it through its 2006 release. So, imagining this concept being tackled for the first time in 2024 makes us shudder. As a core concept, the game paddles into real murky waters. Ignoring all of the things you can get up to that we aren't even willing to talk about, being able to live out a delinquent fantasy is already a rough sell, especially given that the majority of anti-video game protesters try to link video game behaviors to real-world behaviors. Imagine this game in 2024 with cyber harassment being an option. It would struggle to make it onto store shelves.
Let's go out and torment someone really helpless and unfortunate. That homeless guy.
Gotcha. This arcade game from the 70s sat awkwardly in the corner of many arcades for one weird reason, but we'll get to that in a second. The fairly tame game saw one player chasing down another in a Pong-esque art style. As the pursuer gets closer to the victim, the music increases, causing panic and laughs with friends. The issue with this game comes from the artwork and the arcade cabinet itself, which implies it's a man chasing down a woman. The cabinet is famous as it replaces a joystick with two large breast-like controls. The controls were eventually replaced with regular joysticks, even back in the 70s. Imagine having an arcade cabinet like this in the corner of an arcade today. That would last 2 days before it was thrown out. Hogs of War.
My preferred form of fighting is the fighting with no actual fighting in it.
This Worms-like couch co-op game was beloved by a generation, and although the game is still good fun, the racial commentary is incredibly offensive. The Japanese team is yellow and called sushi swine, the French team is called garlic grunts, and the Germans sauerkrauts. The voiceovers and impressions done by the voice actors are wildly prejudiced. It's like a 1940s Bugs Bunny cartoon coming to life in a video game, and by today's standards, it probably would have had a good run on CNN headlines.
If he dies, I get these Russians, no?
Freedom. Freedom was designed similarly to MECC's earlier educational game, The Oregon Trail, but instead of a highly successful educational game that became a long-living hit for gaming fans, they created a far too open-ended experience aiming to teach students about escaping slavery via the Underground Railroad. Developed with the help of an African-American consultant to ensure historical accuracy, the game was meant to support classroom instruction. However, in practice, and much like the Oregon Trail, most students played the game independently, which led to parents demanding its removal due to concerns over the game's perceived insensitivities towards the experience of slaves. Although MECC attempted to collaborate with concerned groups to address these issues, they ultimately decided to withdraw the game, and that was in the 90s. Imagine it today. Rogue Warrior.
Drop dead, motherfucker, you f***ing amateurs.
Yes, Rogue Warrior, the awful game that stars Mickey Rourke as a hardened US soldier who infiltrates North Korea to swear as much as possible and talk about how small Kim Jong-un's penis is. Considering the Seth Rogen film The Interview almost started World War III, I wouldn't have high hopes for this game in today's political climate. The gameplay would get it cancelled among video game enthusiasts, the swearing would get it cancelled among worried mothers, and the North Korea content would get it cancelled among nervous politicians. Overall, it would get cancelled.
What a shithole. How the f did I end up in Jersey?
Manhunt 2.
Get your head straight and follow me.
Head straight, follow you.
That's it, Danny. Listen to me, and I'll get us out of here.
Violence in video games doesn't get you in so much trouble in 2024, simply because the market is so oversaturated that a violent video game release happens every other day. But for a mainstream game which features gratuitous violence for the sake of gratuitous violence, without much substance to give it context, you can still get a good slap on the wrist. In Manhunt 2, players carry out, let's say, visually explicit executions, categorized as hasty, violent, or gruesome. BMX XXX.
Hot salty nutsack! I got a hot salty nutsack here!
Remember when GTA San Andreas nearly got taken off the market due to players unearthing unused game files which featured a minigame that allowed players to have sex? Well, 2 years earlier, this 2002 gem managed to slip by fairly unnoticed. Complete with naked game models and real strip club videos, I'm embarrassed to say I picked this up with relative ease back in 2002. I was young. Moving on.
Well, this hand holds wiener very tightly. Does that left it, my wiener will pay. There can only be one wiener king in this town. Destroy all other carts in the area. Hurry!
JFK Reloaded. Remember one of the most historically significant presidential assassinations of all time? Remember how it rocked a nation and reverberated emotions the world over? Well, in JFK Reloaded, players take on the role of Lee Harvey Oswald as he assassinates the US President John F. Kennedy. The game faced heavy criticism for its controversial subject matter, with a spokesman for Senator Ted Kennedy calling it despicable. A game that recreates the assassination of a president might stir outrage if released today, and there's no way it would be accepted.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I'll give him a duct tape, asshole. I'll come down here, I'll show him what the duct tape is, I'll show him where to stuff it. Stupid all I do all day is trying to sort his stupid problems out of it. Asshole, I need that. Anyway. What were we? The milk, the table. What shall I do with this?
One of the most beloved and enjoyed N64 games comes in the form of Conker's Bad Fur Day. A classic by all accounts, which features a good amount of misogyny, homophobia, and misogyny. Did I mention misogyny? By today's standards, some of the jokes might be considered tasteless, even through the lens of nostalgia. Not every moment in this game lands with players in 2024. Drinking, swearing, prejudice, all wrapped up in what looks like a kid's game, I'm not sure if publishers would let that fly today, or at the very least, they would market it clearly as an adult game. Anyways, I'm gonna go play Conker's Bad Fur Day now.
Couldn't fit in the thing anyway. You seen how fat she is?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos.